Question 1. Topic: Reproductive ethics and law. Focus: assisted reproductive technologies and parental rights. While investigating a complicated issue between different jurisdictions, a dispute arises regarding the legal parentage of a child born through surrogacy. The U.S. couple enters into a commercial surrogacy agreement in a country where such arrangements are legal. However, upon returning to their home state, which does not recognize commercial surrogacy, they face legal challenges in obtaining parental rights. What is the most legally sound approach the couple should take to establish their parental status? A. File for adoption under their home state's family law statutes, as surrogacy contracts are unenforceable. B. Assert their parental rights based on the genetic relationship to the child, relying on the Uniform Parentage Act (UPA). C. Challenge their home state's ban on commercial surrogacy as unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause. D. Seek recognition of the foreign surrogacy agreement through the full faith and credit clause of the U.S. Constitution. Answer: A. File for adoption under their home state's family law statutes, as surrogacy contracts are unenforceable. Explanation: Many U.S. states have varying laws regarding surrogacy, and not all states recognize commercial surrogacy contracts. Some states explicitly prohibit such agreements and consider them void. In such cases, the safest legal approach is for the intended parents to adopt the child under their state's existing family law statutes. YA is correct. Filing for adoption provides legally recognized pathway to establish parental rights in jurisdiction where surrogacy is not enforceable. Courts in such states often require formal adoption to confirm the intended parent's legal status. B is incorrect. While the Uniform Parentage Act (UPA) provides frameworks for determining parentage, states that ban surrogacy do not necessarily recognize genetic claims as sufficient for parentage. C is incorrect. Challenging surrogacy ban under the Equal Protection Clause would be long and legal battle rather than an immediate legal solution for the child's parental status. D is incorrect. The Full Faith and Credit Clause does not require states to recognize surrogacy agreements that contradict their own public policies. Relevant law: Uniform Parentage Act (UPA), family law, adoption statutes, state-specific surrogacy regulations. Question 2. Topic: Biomedical research ethics and regulation. Focus: human subjects research and ethical guidelines. Within a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges impact public trust in clinical research, a pharmaceutical company is conducting a human trial for a new cancer drug. The trial includes a placebo-controlled group where critically ill patients receive no active treatment. A bioethics committee raises concerns of whether such a design violates ethical guidelines. Which legal or ethical standard is most relevant in assessing the validity of the trial's design? A. The common rule, which mandates informed consent but does not prohibit placebo use in life-threatening conditions. B. The Helsinki Declaration, which generally opposes placebo use when effective treatments exist. C. The FDOS guidelines on clinical trials, which allow placebo-controlled studies if justified by scientific necessity. D. The Nuremberg Code, which strictly prohibits experiments that involve any level of risk to participants. Answer: B. The Helsinki Declaration, which generally opposes placebo use when effective treatments exist. Explanation: The Helsinki Declaration, issued by the World Medical Association, provides a strong ethical foundation for human subjects research. It states that placebo-controlled trials are generally unethical when effective treatment is available, as denying patients treatment could cause unnecessary suffering or harm. B is correct. Helsinki Declaration directly addresses the ethics of placebo use and prioritizes patient well-being over scientific design. A is incorrect. The common rule 45 CFR 46 governs U.S. human research protections but does not specifically prohibit placebo-controlled studies in life-threatening conditions. It primarily mandates informed consent and herb oversight. C is incorrect. While FDA guidelines allow placebo-controlled trials, they require justification for their use. However, the ethical concern raised by the Helsinki Declaration takes precedence in this context. D is incorrect. The Nuremberg Code emphasizes voluntary participation and protection against harm but does not strictly prohibit all levels of risk in research. Many human trials inherently involve some risk provided ethical oversight is in place. Relevant law: Helsinki Declaration, FDA, Research Guidelines, 21 CFR Part 312, Common Rule, 45 CFR 46. Question 3. Topic: Public health ethics and law. Focus: mandatory vaccinations and civil liberties during an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted by an outbreak of a highly contagious disease, public health authorities mandate vaccination for all residents in a particular city. A group of individuals challenges this mandate, citing their right to bodily autonomy and religious freedom. What is the most legally sound argument for upholding the vaccination mandate? A. The mandate is unconstitutional because personal liberty outweighs public health concerns. B. The state has broad police powers to enforce vaccination mandates in the interest of public health. C. Individuals have the right to refuse vaccination under the free exercise clause of the First Amendment. D. The government must provide full exemptions to any individual claiming religious or personal objections. Answer: B. The state has broad police powers to enforce vaccination mandates in the interest of public health. Explanation: in the landmark case Jacobson v. Massachusetts, 1905, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the authority of states to enforce mandatory vaccinations under their police powers. The court ruled that public health laws can sometimes override individual rights when necessary to prevent the spread of infectious diseases. Why? B is correct. Under state police powers, the government can impose reasonable public health regulations, including vaccination mandates, to protect the community from serious health threats. YA incorrect. While personal liberty is fundamental, it is not absolute. Public health interests can justify certain restrictions. YC is incorrect. The free exercise clause does not automatically exempt individuals from laws that are neutral and generally applicable, as ruled in Employment Division v. Smith, 1990. YD is incorrect. While some states allow religious or philosophical exemptions, the government is not required to provide them in cases of public health emergencies. Relevant law: Jacobson v. Massachusetts, 1905. Police Powers Doctrine, First Amendment Free Exercise Clause, Public Health Service Act. Question 4. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise in determining the legal and ethical boundaries of reproductive technologies, the introduction of new assisted reproductive techniques raises concerns about genetic parentage, embryo disposition, and the rights of donors and intended parents. A prominent case involves a couple using in vitro fertilization and later divorcing before the embryos are implanted. The dispute arises: one partner wants to use the embryos to conceive, while the other refuses, citing their right not to procreate. Considering legal precedents and ethical considerations, which of the following is the most legally and ethically justifiable resolution? A. The embryos should be implanted in the requesting partner since they were created with mutual consent and intended for use. B. The embryos should be discarded if one partner objects, as courts often favor reproductive autonomy. C. The embryos should be placed for adoption to avoid ethical concerns related to parental rights. D. The court should order shared custody of the embryos to ensure fairness to both parties. Answer: B. The embryos should be discarded if one partner objects, as courts often favor reproductive autonomy. Explanation: this scenario explores the intersection of reproductive autonomy, legal contracts, and bioethical principles. Courts have generally ruled in favor of reproductive autonomy, meaning that no individual should be forced into parenthood against their will. In cases like Davis v. Davis 1992, McQueen v. Gadberry 2016, courts prioritized the right of the person opposing implantation over the one seeking to use the embryos. YB is correct. The principle of procreative autonomy, rooted in bioethics and constitutional law, suggests that individuals have the right to decide whether or not to reproduce. Courts usually do not enforce agreements that force unwilling parenthood unless there is a prior binding contract. Correct. Prior intent to use the embryos does not override a partner's right to later withdraw consent. YC is incorrect. The idea of embryo adoption is legally complex and ethically contentious because it assigns personhood-like rights to embryos, controversial notion under U.S. law. YD is incorrect. Courts do not grant shared custody of embryos because they are considered potential life rather than legal persons. Key legal and ethical considerations. Legal precedents. Davis v. Davis set the standard for resolving embryo disputes, favoring non-use unless binding contract exists. Ethical principles. Autonomy and non-maleficence, avoiding harm by forcing unwilling parenthood. Question 5. While investigating a complicated issue between different stakeholders in human subjects research, an institutional review board faces an ethical dilemma regarding informed consent. A pharmaceutical company sponsors a clinical trial for a promising cancer drug, but the study involves terminally ill patients with few treatment options. Some patients are unable to give informed consent due to cognitive decline and have expressed concern about their participation. How should the herb ethically and legally proceed? A. Allow the trial to proceed as the potential benefits outweigh the risks and patients would otherwise have no treatment. B. Require legally authorized representatives (LARs) to provide surrogate consent on behalf of the cognitively impaired patients. C. Exclude all patients unable to give informed consent to avoid ethical and legal complications. D. Require a public hearing to determine if it is in the best interest of society to participation. Answer: B. Require legally authorized representatives (LARs) to provide surrogate consent on behalf of the cognitively impaired patients. Explanation: clinical trials involving vulnerable populations raise issues of autonomy, beneficence, and justice, as well as legal concerns under federal regulations like the Common Rule 45 CFR 46. Why B is correct. The Common Rule allows for surrogate decision-making when lacks the capacity to consent. Legally authorized representatives (LARs) can provide permission under state laws and institutional policies. Why is incorrect. Potential benefits do not override the requirement for voluntary informed consent, which is foundational in Nuremberg Code and Belmont Report protections. Why C is incorrect. Automatically excluding cognitively impaired patients could be considered unjust discrimination, violating the principle of justice in research ethics. Why D is incorrect. Public hearings do not replace individual consent or law decisions, which are personal rights. Key legal and ethical considerations. Belmont Report. Respect for persons, informed consent and justice, fair inclusion of participants. 45 CFR 46. Common Rule. Federal protections for human subjects research. Question 6. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with ethical obligations, a physician is faced with a dilemma regarding confidentiality and the duty to warn. A patient diagnosed with a highly contagious and lethal disease refuses to notify close contacts or comply with public health directives. The physician is legally bound by HIPAA but also aware of their ethical responsibility to prevent harm. What is the most appropriate course of action? A. Maintain confidentiality, as HIPAA prohibits disclosure without patient consent. B. Report the case to public health authorities under legal exceptions to confidentiality. C. Privately inform the patient's family and contacts without official reporting. D. Refrain from taking action unless the disease has 100% transmission rate. Answer: B. Report the case to public health authorities under legal exceptions to confidentiality. Explanation: this dilemma involves the conflict between patient confidentiality, HIPAA, 1996, and the duty to protect public health. Why B is correct. HIPAA includes public health exceptions allowing disclosure of protected health information when necessary to prevent a public health crisis. 45 CFR 160.512. Why is incorrect. While confidentiality is fundamental, public health laws override HIPAA in cases of contagious diseases, e.g. COVID-19, tuberculosis. Why C is incorrect. Informing individuals privately would violate medical ethics and could expose the physician to liability. Why D is incorrect. The duty to warn exists even if a disease does not have a 100% transmission rate. Key legal and ethical considerations. Tarasoff v. Regents of the University of California, 1976, established the duty to warn principle in pub health. HIPAA public health exception 45 CFR 164.512 allows disclosures to public health authorities. Question 7. When developing a solution that must address opposing needs, a logistics company is trying to optimize delivery speed while reducing fuel costs. Some managers advocate for faster routes with higher fuel consumption, while others prioritize fuel efficiency, leading to slower deliveries. What is the most balanced approach that satisfies both objectives? A. Implementing a strict delivery deadline policy regardless of fuel usage. B. Using dynamic route optimization algorithms that balance speed and fuel efficiency. C. Mandating slow speeds for all deliveries to minimize fuel costs. D. Prioritizing fuel-efficient vehicles over optimizing delivery routes. Answer: B. Using dynamic route optimization algorithms that balance speed and fuel efficiency. Explanation: why B is correct. Dynamic route optimization uses real-time data to adjust for traffic, fuel consumption, and delivery deadlines, achieving a balance between speed and cost. Why is incorrect. A strict delivery deadline ignores fuel efficiency and could lead to unnecessary costs. Why C is incorrect. A blanket policy of seeds could negatively impact customer satisfaction and service quality. Why D is incorrect. While fuel-efficient vehicles help, they do not directly optimize delivery routes, missing a key opportunity for efficiency. Key considerations: advanced algorithms like AI-based routing, fuel-efficient driving techniques. Question 8. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a financial institution finds that loan approvals take too long due to multiple layers of manual verification. To improve efficiency without compromising risk management, which strategy is most effective? A. Eliminating all manual verifications and automating the entire process. B. Implementing an AI-driven risk assessment while keeping final approval manual. C. Reducing verification steps even if it increases approval risks. D. Prioritizing faster approvals for high-value customers only. Answer: B. Implementing an AI-driven risk assessment while keeping final approval manual. Explanation: why B is correct. AI can handle routine risk assessments while human oversight remains for complex cases, ensuring both speed and security. Why is incorrect. Fully automated approvals may expose the bank to fraud and compliance risks. Why C is incorrect. Reducing verification steps indiscriminately could lead to higher rates. Why D is incorrect. Prioritizing high-value customers neglects fairness and regulatory compliance. Key considerations: regulatory compliance and risk management, AI-assisted decision-making for efficiency. Question 9. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges arise, a hospital is implementing a new patient record system. Some doctors struggle with the new interface, leading to delays in patient care. What is the best approach to address the issue? A. Require mandatory training sessions for all doctors and staff. B. Revert to the old system until all staff are fully comfortable. C. Allow staff to choose between the old and new systems. D. Implement a hybrid system where doctors can manually override the new interface. Answer: A. Require mandatory training sessions for all doctors and staff. Explanation: why is correct. Training helps all staff adapt efficiently, ensuring that the new system is fully utilized. Why B is incorrect. Reverting back would delay progress and waste implementation costs. Why C is incorrect. Having two systems increases data inconsistency risks. Why D is incorrect. Hybrid models can create workflow confusion and disrupt integrity. Key considerations: change management in healthcare, user adoption strategies. Question 10. In a situation where resource allocation becomes critical, a manufacturing plant faces a shortage of key raw materials due to supply chain disruptions. Which strategy ensures the best balance between cost and production efficiency? A. Reducing production until the supply chain stabilizes. B. Sourcing alternative materials that maintain quality standards. C. Prioritizing high-demand products and pausing low-demand production. D. Increasing supplier contracts regardless of cost. Answer: B. Sourcing alternative materials that maintain quality standards. Explanation: why B is correct. This ensures continuous production while maintaining product quality. Why is incorrect. Halting production is a reactive approach that may cause revenue losses. Why C is incorrect. Prioritizing high-demand products ignores long-term supply stability. Why D is incorrect. Increasing suppliers without cost control can reduce profitability. Key considerations: supply chain risk management, alternative sourcing strategies. Question 11. During an emergency response where multiple areas are impacted, a cybersecurity team detects a coordinated ransomware attack affecting multiple servers. The team needs to act quickly while minimizing business disruption. What is the best immediate action? A. Shut down all servers immediately to prevent further spread. B. Isolate infected servers while maintaining functionality for unaffected ones. C. Notify law enforcement before taking any containment steps. D. Restore from backups immediately without analyzing the attack. Answer: B. Isolate infected servers while maintaining functionality for unaffected ones. Explanation: why B is correct. Isolating infected servers prevents further spread while keeping essential services operational. Why is incorrect. Shutting down all servers disrupts business continuity unnecessarily. Why C is incorrect. While law enforcement should be notified, immediate containment is the priority. Why D is incorrect. Restoring from without analyzing the attack could lead to reinfection. Key considerations: incident response prioritization, minimizing downtime in cybersecurity incidents. Question 12. When implementing new protocols in A shared environment, a healthcare facility introduces AI-based diagnostic tools to assist doctors. Some medical staff worry about reliability and decision-making authority. What is the most effective way to address these concerns? A. Require all doctors to follow AI recommendations without exception. B. Provide training and allow doctors to override AI recommendations when necessary. C. Phase out traditional diagnostic methods entirely to rely solely on AI. D. Limit AI use to administrative staff rather than doctors. Answer: B. Provide training and allow doctors to override AI recommendations when necessary. Explanation: why B is correct. Training ensures proper adoption, while allowing overrides maintains human oversight in critical cases. Why is incorrect. Forcing doctors to follow AI recommendations removes clinical judgment. Why C is incorrect. Completely replacing traditional methods introduces risks of AI errors. Why D is incorrect. E-diagnostics is meant for medical professionals, not just administration. Key considerations: balancing AI and human expertise in medicine, ensuring trust and adoption in AI-driven healthcare. Question 13. While investigating a complicated issue between different departments, the company discovers that marketing and sales teams have conflicting priorities, causing inefficiencies. How should leadership resolve this issue? A. Implement a standardized workflow that aligns both departments' objectives. B. Allow each department to work independently to avoid conflicts. C. Let senior leadership decide without consulting the teams. D. Conduct separate performance evaluations without collaboration. Answer A. Implement a standardized workflow that aligns both departments' objectives. Explanation: why is correct. A structured approach ensures both teams work towards common goals. Why B is incorrect. Working independently increases misalignment and inefficiencies. Why C is incorrect. Leadership decisions without team input can be ineffective. Why D is incorrect. Isolating evaluations prevents collaboration improvement. Key considerations: cross-functional collaboration best practices, aligning team goals for efficiency. Question 14. In a situation where formal requirements conflict with real-world limitations, a construction project must follow strict building codes while adapting to unexpected environmental challenges. What is the best way to proceed? A. Request exemptions from regulations to accommodate site conditions. B. Modify construction plans while staying within legal compliance. C. Continue with original plans despite environmental challenges. D. Delay the project indefinitely until all issues are resolved. Answer: B. Modify construction plans while staying within legal compliance. Explanation: why B is correct. Adapting plans while following legal requirements ensures both safety and efficiency. Why is incorrect. Requesting exemptions may cause legal and safety risks. Why C is incorrect. Ignoring environmental issues can lead to project failures. Why D is incorrect. Delays may be costly and unnecessary. Key considerations: but regulations and practical constraints. Construction project risk management. Question 15. During a seamless transition where continuity must be maintained, a multinational corporation is migrating its entire system to cloud-based infrastructure. What is the most critical factor for a successful migration? A. Switching all systems at once to complete the transition quickly. B. Running parallel systems until the new infrastructure is stable. C. Focusing only on security concerns, ignoring performance issues. D. Assigning the migration to one department without involving others. Answer: B. Running parallel systems until the new infrastructure is stable. Explanation: why B is correct. Parallel systems ensure business continuity while troubleshooting issues. Why is incorrect. A sudden switch can lead to catastrophic failures. Why C is incorrect. Security is important, but performance must also be maintained. Why D is incorrect. Migration needs cross-department coordination. Key considerations: cloud my best practices, ensuring minimal disruption in its transitions. Question 16. In an environment where different components must interact smoothly, an automated factory experiences delays due to poor synchronization between robotic systems. What is the best solution? A. Implement real-time monitoring and synchronization software. B. Reduce automation levels to increase human oversight. C. Focus only on fixing individual robots with performance issues. D. Replace all robotic components with newer models. Answer: A. Implement real-time monitoring and synchronization software. Explanation: why is correct. Real-time synchronization improves coordination between automated systems. Why B is incorrect. Reducing automation defeats the purpose of efficiency. Why C is incorrect. Fixing individual robots ignores broader synchronization issues. Why D is incorrect. Replacing robots without addressing integration doesn't solve the problem. Considerations: optimizing industrial automation, synchronization in robotic systems. Question 17. While updating traditional approaches where interconnections exist, an airline company modernizes its ticketing system. Some legacy systems still manage passenger data. What is the best transition strategy? A. Maintain both systems indefinitely to avoid issues. B. Gradually phase out the old system while integrating data into the new one. C. Switch immediately without testing migration. D. Only upgrade high traffic routes and ignore others. Answer: B. Gradually phase out the old system while integrating data into the new one. Explanation: why B is correct. Gradual transition prevents disruptions and ensures data integrity. Why O is incorrect. Running two systems forever increases complexity and cost. Why C is incorrect. A sudden switch risks losing data and functionality. Why D is incorrect. Partial upgrades create inconsistency across routes. Key considerations: system modernization, data integrity, and system transitions. Question 18. In a high-stakes environment where multiple challenges must be addressed simultaneously, a financial institution faces regulatory pressure to improve cybersecurity while also implementing a new digital banking platform. What should be the institution's primary focus? A. Launch the digital platform first and address cybersecurity afterward. B. Strengthen cybersecurity first, even if it delays the platform launch. C. Work on both initiatives simultaneously with separate teams. D. Ignore regulatory pressure and prioritize customer experience. Answer: C. Work on both initiatives simultaneously with separate teams. Explanation: why C is correct. Parallel execution allows the institution to comply with regulations while advancing digital transformation. Why O is incorrect. Launching without security measures exposes customers to risks. Why B is incorrect. Delaying the platform may result in competitive disadvantages. Why D is incorrect. Ignoring regulatory pressure can lead to legal penalties. Key considerations: balancing innovation and compliance, cybersecurity in financial services. Question 19. During a major transformation where existing methods must be replaced, a manufacturing company decides to transition from manual assembly lines to fully automated systems. How should they handle employee concerns? A. Dismiss employees unwilling to work with automation. B. Provide retraining programs for workers to adapt to new roles. C. Replace the workforce entirely with automated systems. D. Implement automation without consulting employees. Answer: B. Provide retraining programs for workers to adapt to new roles. Explanation: why B is correct. Retraining ensures workforce adaptability while maintaining company morale. Why is incorrect. Dismissing employees creates workforce instability. Why C is incorrect. A fully automated system eliminates human oversight, which is still needed. Why D is incorrect. Employee engagement is crucial for smooth transitions. Key considerations: workforce adaptation in automation, balancing technological shifts and human labor. Question 20. When developing a solution that must address the opposing needs, an urban planning team must balance economic development with environmental sustainability. What is the best approach? A. Focus on economic growth, disregarding environmental concerns. B. Prioritize environmental sustainability at the cost of economic opportunities. C. Develop a strategy that integrates both sustainability and growth. D. Postpone decision-making until a clear resolution emerges. Answer: C. Develop a strategy that integrates both sustainability and growth. Explanation: why C is correct. A balanced approach ensures long-term success without sacrificing key priorities. Why O is incorrect. Ignoring environmental issues leads to long-term harm. Why B is incorrect. Economic growth is necessary for job creation and infrastructure. Why D is incorrect. Delays hinder progress and create uncertainty. Key considerations: sustainable urban development, balancing economic and environmental goals. Question 21. While managing a hybrid approach where timing issues are critical, an international supply chain struggles with delays due to different regulations across countries. What is the best way to streamline operations? A. Adopt a single standard and require all suppliers to follow it. B. Work with regional teams to develop adaptable strategies. C. Ignore regional regulations and focus on efficiency. D. Avoid expanding operations in regions with strict rules. Answer: B. Work with regional teams to develop adaptable strategies. Explanation. Why B is correct. Regional adaptability ensures compliance while improving efficiency. Why is incorrect. A universal standard may not work globally due to legal differences. Why C is incorrect. Ignoring regulations leads to legal risks. Why D is incorrect. Avoiding expansion limits business opportunities. Key considerations. Global supply chain management. Regulatory compliance in international business. Question 22. During a comprehensive review of a process that needs improvement, a hospital evaluates its patient intake system and finds long wait times. What is the best way to reduce these delays? A. Increase the number of medical staff without changing procedures. B. Implement a digital check-in and triage system. C. Reduce consultation times for each patient. D. Limit the number of daily patients. Answer. B. Implement a digital check-in and triage system. Explanation. Why B is correct. Digital systems improve efficiency and reduce administrative bottlenecks. Why is incorrect. More staff won't fix systemic issues. Why C is incorrect. Shorter consultations can compromise patient care. Why D is incorrect. Limiting patients reduces access to healthcare. Key considerations. Process optimization in healthcare. Technology-driven efficient improvement. Question 23. When implementing backup procedures across various departments, a company wants to ensure business continuity during unexpected disruptions. What is the most effective approach? A. Perform regular system backups and test recovery processes. B. Only backup critical data, ignoring less used files. C. Store backups in the same location as primary data. D. Rely solely on cloud-based storage without redundancy. Answer A. Perform regular system backups and test recovery processes. Explanation. Why is correct. Regular backups with testing ensure data integrity and quick recovery. Why B is incorrect. All data matters. Selective backups increase risks. Why C is incorrect. Keeping backups in the same location exposes them to disasters. Why D is incorrect. Cloud storage needs additional redundancy. Key considerations. Disaster recovery planning. Data strategies. Question 24. In a scenario where efficiency decreases across multiple departments, a retail company notices declining sales and slow internal processes. What should be the first step in addressing the issue? A. Conduct an internal audit to identify inefficiencies. B. Reduce staff to lower operational costs. C. Increase marketing budgets without analyzing the problem. D. Delay any changes until sales improve. Answer A. Conduct an internal audit to identify inefficiencies. Explanation. Why is correct. An audit provides insight into root causes before taking action. Why B is incorrect. Reducing staff without analysis may worsen efficiency. Why C is incorrect. More marketing won't fix operational inefficiencies. Why D is incorrect. Delaying action exacerbates issues. Key considerations. Diagnosing organizational inefficiencies. Business optimization. Question 25. While analyzing the root causes of sequential problems in a software system, developers notice that frequent crashes follow specific updates. What is the best way to resolve this issue? A. Implement a rigorous testing and rollback procedure for updates. B. Release updates quickly to fix new bugs as they arise. C. Stop updates entirely to prevent further problems. D. Ignore the issue unless customer complaints increase. Answer A. Implement a rigorous testing and rollback procedure for updates. Explanation. Why is correct. Structured testing prevents crashes before deployment. Why B is incorrect. Fast updates without testing introduce new risks. Why C is incorrect. Stopping updates prevents necessary improvements. Why D is incorrect. Proactive solutions improve reliability. Key considerations. Software stability and testing best practices, minimizing failures. Question 26. In a competitive landscape where adaptability is crucial, a logistics company faces challenges due to fluctuating fuel costs and supply chain disruptions. What is the best strategic approach? A. Lock in long-term fuel contracts to stabilize costs. B. Diversify transportation options and invest in predictive analytics. C. Reduce delivery frequencies to cut fuel expenses. D. Pass all additional costs directly to customers. Answer. B. Diversify transportation options and invest in predictive analytics. Explanation. Why B is correct. Flexibility in transportation, rail, air, electric fleets reduces dependency on fuel price fluctuations. Predictive analytics enables proactive decision-making. Why is incorrect. Locking in long-term contracts may backfire if fuel prices drop. Why C is incorrect. Reducing delivery frequency lowers customer satisfaction. Why D is incorrect. Passing costs to customers reduces competitiveness. Key considerations: supply chain resilience, data-driven decision-making in logistics. Question 27. When designing an approach where incremental changes matter, a retail chain wants to gradually transition from physical stores to an e-commerce-driven model. What is the most effective strategy? A. Shut down physical stores immediately and go fully online. B. Introduce online shopping with in-store pickup and home delivery options. C. Invest only in social media marketing without updating operations. D. Delay digital investments until competitors make similar moves. Answer: B. Introduce online shopping with in-store pickup and home delivery options. Explanation: why B is correct. A hybrid model omnichannel retailing ensures a smooth transition while maintaining physical store relevance. Why is incorrect. An abrupt switch disrupts customer loyalty and may alienate existing shoppers. Why C is incorrect. Marketing alone does not address operational challenges. Why D is incorrect. Waiting on competitors, losing market share. Key considerations: omnichannel retail strategies, gradual digital transformation. Question 28. In a scenario where precision is key, a pharmaceutical company is developing a new drug and must navigate strict regulatory approvals. What is the best approach? A. Speed up production to launch the drug quickly before competitors. B. Conduct extensive clinical trials and adhere strictly to regulatory guidelines. C. Reduce testing phases to cut costs and time. D. Release the drug in smaller markets first to test its effects. Answer: B. Conduct extensive clinical trials and adhere strictly to regulatory guidelines. Explanation: why B is correct. Strict compliance ensures safety, avoids lawsuits, and secures long-term credibility. Why is incorrect. Rushing can lead to safety risks and legal issues. Why C is incorrect. Reducing testing increases risks of side effects. Why D is incorrect. Using smaller markets as test subjects can damage reputation. Considerations: regulatory compliance in pharmaceuticals, risk management in drug development. Question 29. While evaluating a system where transparency is essential, a government agency wants to improve public trust by making data more accessible. What is the best solution? A. Publish all government records without filters or explanations. B. Implement an open data portal with clear, user-friendly insights. C. Share data only with internal stakeholders to avoid misinterpretation. D. Keep data confidential to prevent public criticism. Answer: B. Implement an open data portal with clear, user-friendly insights. Explanation: why B is correct. A transparent, well-organized data portal builds trust while preventing misinterpretation. Why is incorrect. Releasing all data without context leads to confusion. Why C is incorrect. Internal-only data reduces public accountability. Why D is incorrect. Withholding data damages trust and invites suspicion. Key considerations: public sector transparency, effective communication of complex data. Question 30. During a shift where ethical considerations influence outcomes, a company discovers that one of its suppliers uses unethical labor practices. What is the most responsible course of action? A. Immediately cut ties with the supplier, regardless of supply chain impact. B. Investigate further and work with the supplier to improve conditions. C. Ignore the issue since changing suppliers is costly. D. Reduce orders from the supplier but continue working with them. Answer: B. Investigate further and work with the supplier to improve conditions. Explanation: why B is correct. A collaborative approach ensures ethical improvements while maintaining supply chain stability. Why is incorrect. Immediate termination may harm workers further if they lose jobs suddenly. Why C is incorrect. Ignoring unethical labor risks reputational damage. Why D is incorrect. Reducing orders does not address the core issue. Considerations: corporate social responsibility, ethical supply chain management.